Hi and welcome to the Journal of a Marketing Agency.
Listen in as we chat about challenges we faced,
Insights into the latest marketing topics,
and thoughts on productivity and growth.
Okay, so let's touch on social but organic social, because it's something that it's open to everybody, which is I think why small businesses and big businesses it's there. But as we've seen and clients have seen and everyone seems to see, and we've said, organic social is dead. It's not completely dead, but you can't expect your Instagram followers just to go up and up and up and up based on the content you're putting out.
No. I really hope this episode gives a lot of value to people, because big brands, small brands alike, anywhere in between, so many have got the wrong idea when it comes to social now.
Yeah. So what do you think they're doing wrong?
I think there is definitely a view that social is still the place to get active on there, and you'll see those followers increase, and you'll see the stuff go out.
Use the
and
right
people share
hashtags and
like
you'll get more follows and all that stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. And then there's the other school of thought who have resigned to the fact that organic social is dead, and we'll go into why it's dead in a minute. But there's another school of thought, well, it's dead, so we're just filling the gaps, really, just doing it because we've got to.
Every day we'll put something out there.
Some product picture with some features and benefits again, same old stuff. Yeah. Or the obligatory, yearly holidays like Happy Mother's Day and generic Happy Mother's Day, but nothing
no
real,
context,
no value,
no value.
There.
Yeah. So going back, what you said, why is social dead? Organic social.
So when social networks really took off, it was obviously anything that you did on there was generally seen by people. So if you like something, if you comment on something, if you share something, you're sharing it with your followers. There's still that to an extent if you physically share something.
Yeah, I suppose it used to be if you had 20 followers and you shared it, those 20 people saw what you shared. That's the simplest terms.
Yeah, and even if you liked something, it would say Rob Lyon likes this, and it would show me, because I'm your friend on social, it would show me that you like that, and then I would see that. Yeah. And so likes and shares were what we call vanity metrics, because they were, it was likes, shares, followers was key.
Yeah.
And along the line, that has now gone away. It's gone away for some time now. Ultimately, because mainly for brands.
I'm not sure if that's in shot, but we'll move it anyway.
Mainly for brands.
Yeah.
Because ultimately they want brands to pay for exposure. So it's very much a pay-to-play game.
Spend boosting posts became a thing.
Yeah.
If you want everyone that follows you to see this, you're going to have to boost it.
Yeah.
Which some people naively, well, not naively, it's not for everyone to understand, but there is still a view of some. Every day I do a social media post, everyone that follows me is seeing said post.
Yeah. And there are even the share features now are being removed from the likes of Facebook, Instagram. It's hard to share a brand's post.
Yeah.
On Instagram you can share something to stories, but it's very, very difficult to. If I see a post by a company and I want to share that on my own feed, that is very, very difficult for me to do.
Yes.
Because again, that brand in Facebook's eyes, who obviously own Instagram, that brand shouldn't be getting that. They should be paying for that exposure. Yeah,
pay for the privilege.
Exactly. And so that's very much the situation now. But that doesn't mean that all is lost.
No.
So this is where I'm saying about some people just resigning to that by saying, well, there's no point doing social then. Or there's no point doing social of any value.
Yeah.
Equally, like I say, on the other side of it, I'm a new startup, started a new business, got to get on social, got to start putting out loads of stuff every day, multiple posts a day, getting all that content out there, because people are going to see it, they're going to like it, they're going to share it, and it's just going to grow. Even a viral spike now does not guarantee that suddenly you're rocketing and you're on your way. No. It's a spike. It's exactly what it is.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely bang on, and I've even in the influencer marketing space. That's why you should not always just look at the number of followers your influencer you're going to work with has, because the same will apply to them when they post things on their feed. Only a percentage of those people. It depends on how engaged audiences are with their content. Again, going to your point, which we'll touch on in a minute, is how you should be putting things on in your various feeds and grids and the like. But yeah, it used to be the day, God, I don't know how many followers Kim Kardashian's got now, but say she's got 20 million as an example. It used to be, if she puts your product on, 20 million people will see it. I bet it's a tiny percentage of that now.
Well, there's also the algorithm.
Yeah.
In terms of what gets shown to people, because again, the days gone past of Facebook and the like, everything was timeline order.
Yeah.
You'd look at your timeline and you would see the posts that people have put up there.
Course.
That is now curated. It's curated by Facebook, and the way that they curate it is based on your other engagement.
Yeah.
So if I like everything that you post, it will always show me things that you post top.
Yeah.
Even if I follow you, but I never engage with you, I never really stop, and as I'm scrolling through the feed, never really stop to look at your pictures, I don't like it or anything like that, then it just won't show me them. So I can be following someone and not see anything that they post.
You often find, again, people listening to it will realise it themselves when they suddenly see something from a friend. But if you look in the engagement, it's had lots of likes, it's had lots and lots of comments, so they think, this might be, the algorithm then thinks this might be applicable to you because 4 other people within your social network did like it, so then they'll show it to you. So that, again, we'll get on it in a second. But that's where there's engagement within, it's engagement is everything, isn't it? That's the point we're going to come to. For anything organic, if your post is engaging and it's community based, which we'll get on in a second as well, so it's serving a purpose and creating conversation, it will just give much more likely that you'll get that others will see that who otherwise wouldn't.
Yeah. So the point for me is that social now, the role of social is changing in the sense that it is still important to new prospects. It is still important to potential customers, to a wider audience. It's incredibly important to your current audience. The way that it's still important to new audiences, even though you might not, your posts, your activity might not organically get shown to those people, is that if you are doing ads or other types of marketing that drive people to your social feed, the quality of the stuff that's on there, when we talked about story and being authentic in the storytelling episode, if that kind of stuff is there, then they'll see that there's more to to your business than the ad that they've just seen, which says there's an offer on or something like that.
Yeah,
it builds a bigger picture. Social now is a tool to be used as a part of the bigger marketing mix.
Yeah, I think because again you'd have I can't get across how little time you have to get through to somebody if they first engage with your brand. If they appear on your feed and there's either nothing there or what's there is, even to how it looks, it should still look nice. You can, if you want to do that more authentic behind the scenes stuff, put that in your stories and so on and so on. But you'll be judged often by those first Instagram example, the first 9 pictures in your grid. Or you always need to bear in mind that that's the first impression most people have of you. So
potentially,
often, if you've seen an ad on Instagram, you think, you click shop now or learn more, whatever you click on. There's a job there to make sure they will look to see that other people are interested in this product too. They're not looking there to be sold to even more. Yeah. They're looking for reassurance that they've not stumbled across some spammy product. This is a real thing. And other people are buying it, and they look after their customers.
And I think this is one of the mistakes that the bigger brands make, is that they are using social to fill the gaps with other sales messages, stuff that's not really engaging. I think it's just one of those things that to start to see that we just got to do it because it's there.
I think it comes down with it's a laziness that I can see where it will come from. It's based on they can be lazy because their revenues and profits and things are so high, but actually think how much better it could be with given the dedication and time to communicate in a better way.
Yeah. So those big brands shouldn't give up on social.
No.
They shouldn't be okay. Well, it's not going to make us grow massively, so why bother with it? What it does do is it helps for customer retention. I think the bigger you are, the more customers you've got.
Yes.
If those customers are fans,
Yeah.
then social is a massive tool for that customer retention. We all know it's easier to sell to an existing customer, or easier to keep an existing customer coming back.
Yes.
Than it is to get a new customer. And actually, if you play it right, you don't have to be as salesy with those existing customers as you do with new. Well, you shouldn't really.
No.
Again, those people have no patience for being sold to on their feed. People are used to seeing ads now. It's something that we've come accustomed to. It's something that we just have to accept.
Yeah, I mean, if you've done a very genuine piece of content in your feed about a product, tag the product so people can find it and choose for themselves if they want to make a purchase, but don't ram it down their throats to sell.
It's got to be a value adder. It's got to add value to someone who's using the product, or someone who's looking to use the product, or someone who's just interested in that world. If I've bought a gaming laptop and I'm into gaming in general, then I would expect the manufacturer of that gaming laptop to be adding value in ways, letting me know about latest news or updates or things that could make my experience. Yeah, I'm not a massive gaming laptop person, but
if you were,
if you were, then I assume that you would follow Razer. I think is the people that make laptops, which happen to be gaming laptops as well. If you follow Razer, I would expect that you should see content that adds value, whether it's events, whether it's some snippets of information, insights, ways to tweak their computer for it to be better, a clarity on picking the right one out of the range.
And you can see where they're not so specifically businesses, but think of individuals that you do follow on. I think like Joe Wicks is probably the ultimate example of someone who he didn't try and thrust books down people's throats to buy. What he did do is every day show people a quick, for free. He gave away the value of, this is me making this, meal in, I can't remember, was it 15 minutes, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But he did that day in, day out. He didn't, and then when he did do the sell, 6 months later, because I've got a book, well, guess what? People liked him. They were grateful for everything they've been given, and then you can sell. You've got to be, it comes back to the authenticity, but you've got to give something away. It's kind of, give, sell. Give. And the giving doesn't have to be giving away things physically. It's giving entertainment. It could be giving information. It can be giving in so many ways. But the people that do it really well, I mean, Joe Wicks is probably the best example of this, because he's, all of his, you don't have to buy his apps and his courses and things. It's all, lots of it's on YouTube for free. But because he does give so much across his social media channels, when he does, if you had a choice between personal trainer A and personal trainer B, you'd probably go with Joe Wicks because he's entertained you. And again, if you look at his content, it's not even all fitness and food. It's his family. He's quite a funny guy. He's big. I mean, you probably even know he's a big fan of The Office. So he puts funny little, David Brent little quips in there, and they're funny.
Yeah.
He's not tried to be anybody else.
Yeah.
He's just putting out regular, interesting content for his He's not really thinking about getting new people on. He's satisfying and entertaining the people that he has. Yeah. And by default, they will then maybe share some of what he's done. They will speak to friends and so on and so on. And guess what? His followers go up accordingly. Yeah. And that's when people get it wrong, is they think this is just a place to... If I'm selling... we've got Buxton Water. We should be sponsored by Buxton Water. I mentioned them last time. Buxton Water. If all they did every day was put another picture of Buxton Water saying, today our water, still naturally rising from the green and pleasant land of the Peak Districts. If there was just that message day in, day out across the feed, not bothered. But if they were putting out content about in their feed about their recycling, how they've got these new policies on recycling and how they do this and how they do that, who's involved in the process, you build warmth again. There's a bit of an overlap with the story podcast we did, but there's an overlap.
Yeah.
Social is where you put your stories, and don't think of it as a means to grow.
I was going to say story and authenticity yet again.
Yeah,
shines through. But one of the things you said there was about you give, and then sell.
Yeah.
You can flip it on its head as well. So when we're thinking about small businesses, new startups, and certainly the belief that again social will that's how they're going to grow is through social. Everyone's going to like, and that means that other people will like. That doesn't happen very, very rarely. There is LinkedIn, which we will talk about a little bit later, because there is still a level of organic growth on there. But if you're the small business, again, there's a lot of small businesses that rely on the Facebook ad platform, or any ads of sorts. And if that ad drives, that ad will be selling generally. Yeah. But then that drives to the social profile, like you said. And on there, if there is then extra value, that give stuff, that paints, like I say, that paints that bigger picture that, actually, again, I'm going back to the laptop thing. I've been sold to that there's this new laptop and it's really high spec and it's going to be great for running my latest games. If I then go onto that, if I click through and I go onto the social feed, or just dig and end up seeing their social content, and that content talks about how there's community events and how there's extra, there's free updates, and there's extra things that maybe come with a laptop, or different ways it can be used, and those kind of things. Suddenly that goes, oh wow, I'm not just buying a cold hard product here from a cold hard sales ad. I'm actually buying into a bigger picture. I'm buying into extra value here that the company's going to give me, and that's what it's all about. That's where social really works now, is to add value to those.
Got an alarm going on. Sorry, podcast. This is why it's natural. Alarms aren't silent, so you can let phone calls on. Apologies. I'm back. This is why it's authentic.
So should you just cut it out?
I'll cut it, or we can just leave it in. Anyway, no, you're absolutely spot on. I think what's difficult is I don't want to put very small businesses off creating a small community. It's not wasted. Never would I suggest you don't do social. It's a must, really. What it is understanding what you're trying to sell. Again, it's just business 101. What you're trying to sell, who you're trying to sell it to, and what problem are you solving for those people. It's very different if you're Mrs. Miggins Bakery selling to the local people of Rugby, again, for example, where I live. Your requirements of that platform are completely different for Coca-Cola, who've got millions and billions of pounds. Their job is probably just to keep re-emphasising the Coca-Cola brand. Mrs. Miggins actually is, hello, today I sell these cakes, and would you like some, please? You've got to. There's not one rule for one, rule for others. I think where people get it wrong is they look at what Coca-Cola are doing. They think that must be the right thing to do because they're doing it and they're how successful they are. But if you're not Coca-Cola with that brand and everything else that goes into their marketing, just treating it as a sales platform like something like that can, it's a massive mistake. You've got to work out where you are in your business journey and then put the right content for your audience. There's no two audiences the same. There's no two products the same. There isn't a one size fits all. I think what I would always advise people to do is look at businesses that are a bit like you in where they are in their journey, and then sort of learn from each other. Look at what other people. And I'm a big believer in creating. I think your touch on is the community nature of social. And actually, there's enough sales in the world to actually, if you've got a competitor in that space that you like what they're doing, comment on it and like it. Because guess what? People will, it shows that you're a brand that is celebrating other people's success, but people might read down in the comments and see that Mrs. Miggins Bakery said well done to Colin's Bakery up the road, and they might discover you that way. It's a community-driven ecosystem now.
There's a few things you mentioned there. I think there's a touch on that. Generally, more often than not, there's more than enough business to go around. Yeah. So where people are in competition, they're usually not. We obviously run Cause Coffee,
Yeah.
and we're not worried about other coffee companies stealing our business.
No.
And equally, we're not going out to steal any other coffee company's
No.
business, because there's ultimately thousands of coffee companies and millions of coffee drinkers who also try all different coffees.
Yeah.
So generally the slice of the pie isn't big enough to feed everyone. But yeah, the community, like I say, the community thing is really important. The community thing is really important because think longer term with it. Again, for the smaller brands, we said that social growth, organic growth is dead. What isn't dead is people sharing themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that if you can get fans, if you can transition your customers into fans who do avidly follow, comment, like those kind of things on your content, yes, that's not going to get seen anywhere else, but they're clearly engaged. Maybe engaged enough that you can get to a point where you can ask them to share something. Yeah. Where you can actually engage with them and say, please, so many brands will say, if you like this product, please leave a review, those kind of things, and user-generated content we've mentioned before is really, really important, really key to getting your brand message out there. That's not dead. No. So, this is why influencer marketing works really well. And generally with an influencer marketer, you've got to pay or send some free samples or something like that. But actually, if your product is good enough, if your business is good enough and your customers love your product, there's not much incentive that they need to actually share things themselves.
Yeah, and again, we had we're kind of crossing over some of the episodes slightly, but in terms of the story part again, if you're helping, if there's a problem that you solved for your customer, and it could be, they were struggling to find a cleaning product that cleaned a certain stain on a work surface. Well, if your product solved that problem and it cleaned that said stain, well, guess what? They'll want to share. You solved that problem. They're euphoric. They're happy. It worked. They might take a photograph of that and tag you on their Instagram. And guess what? You don't see Instagram story, but yes, not every one of their followers will see it, but they will have a level of engagement. And if that, they will then see that, and they think, if it hasn't been paid for and it's authentic and you have solved a problem, you think, oh, that's good. And next time you have a stain on the work surface, you might give that brand some time.
You mentioned story, again, people love to tell stories. So all they need is an excuse to share something that they really like, that they're really into, that maybe has some kind of extra benefit that they didn't think about, or some kind of twist there. People love to share that kind of stuff.
And we see it with Cause, the coffee company's example. Daily people share in their stories, they tag us on them making coffee because they're enjoying the product. Yeah. If you're enjoying the product, it's something that you like, you will. And I feel if I had something, I can't think the last time I tagged a brand in anything. I'm not probably a big one to do that necessarily. But equally, because I'm not one, if I had a new pair of trainers that I loved, I wouldn't say, oh, look at my trainers. I'm not really wired that way. But if there was something that I genuinely thought was brilliant, I'd probably do it with like drink, food. Like you and I will tag up if we both like craft beer, for example. If I see one I really like, the can looked really cool, I really enjoyed it. Yeah. Guess what? And I don't know what compels us to tag the business, but I always tend to. Yeah. It's almost as if you want to. There's something in us, in our DNA, to want to. I don't know. Give a little nod to the business,
to the business,
because I'm sharing it. I'm sharing it with you more so.
Yeah.
As example, because I know Simon will look at this picture. He likes to see the different craft beers, but I always think, and there's a little bit of vanity when that business then reposts your thing. You're like, oh, Brewdog shared my picture.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's because that person is a fan. Yeah. So to have Brewdog share one of their pictures in their stories gives you a buzz.
It's because you're a Brewdog fan, and that's what Brewdog have got to the point of doing that. That's the hard work that they've done in their social content, which is very good. Yeah. Because they will post, the owner of the business, the guy who started the company, will post 2 cans and say, we're doing a new beer, we don't know what to call it, what do you think? Or what do you think of these designs, and those kind of things. Yeah. Again, community. They've actually brought in the customers into their decision making, into their content. And that's
it's really powerful when you can do that.
Yeah.
If the customer is choosing the next product, wow, what a way to get some buy-in early. And also, it's just very smart. Why trust, a focus group of 15 people around a table, which would how it would have been done once upon a time. Just go out and ask your customers. If they say, "Oh, I don't like either," well, go back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
Don't waste all that time and effort and money.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
So like I say, I think social is it's just changed, and I don't see that many people talking about how you should correctly approach social.
No.
And actually, it has got massive value.
Yeah.
You're not going to see the growth that you once saw back in the day with the organic likes and shares and things like that. You are going to have to pay for that exposure on those social media platforms.
Yeah.
But social is actually it's a great way of backing up, adding it into your general marketing in terms of a sales point with the added value.
Yeah.
It's a great way of building community. It's a great way of talking with customers. But everything that you do on there should add value, and it should be quality. To the end user, because they only follow you. Again, people haven't got patience to be sold to in their feed. They already see enough ads when you scroll through. They follow you because they value your content. Yeah,
and I think you said before there is a dying. Organic is dying, but there are emerging. When you're an early adopter to a platform, they rely on organic because they need people on that platform. TikTok's probably the best example that exploded. Organic reach on TikTok was vast. It's only now that they've got enough of people on their platform. Organic's massively reduced because there's a huge audience there. They want businesses to pay to get in front of those people.
Yeah. And it's no surprise that I've had emails from TikTok saying TikTok for business. Set up your accounts, get advertising on TikTok. They're obviously targeting businesses who are using advertising on other other social media platforms. But they're now pushing that as well. Pinterest have done the same. Pinterest is really pushing on the Pinterest for business side as well, because they can see as an opportunity to limit that organic growth, make people pay for it.
And obviously, as we said, LinkedIn is probably the only place of an established platform that still allows that organic. It's not as big as it used to be, but there is still an element of organic reach able. Amazingly,
LinkedIn, if you like a post from anyone on LinkedIn, if your settings are so you share things, unless you've got your privacy locked down and things, your sharing settings locked down. But generally, if you like something, whether it be a brand, whether it be another user, whether it be a group post or an event or something, your network will see that. A lot of people don't realise that. So again, if you put a post onto LinkedIn, I like it, people will see that I like your post, and they'll see you. So while it lasts, because it won't last, surely not. While it lasts, if you are operating business to business or even business to consumer, but in a kind of businessy way, because you don't, it's different content on LinkedIn. It should be different content.
Everyone's a consumer, which is the point, isn't it?
Yeah.
People may be on LinkedIn from a business perspective, but they still buy products for themselves in a normal life.
But if you are operating in any way in that space using LinkedIn, know that there is still that organic content. So, for instance, from a Playfair point of view, we want Playfair to grow. We want more people to see the Playfair content.
Of course.
So I like things that Playfair post. Or I'll post from my own feed, and then Playfair will repost it, or Playfair will like it, or something like that, because then people can see that there's that engagement there. We know right now, this latest episode of the podcast, when we put it onto LinkedIn, if we just put it on Playfair, very few people would see it, because
the people that follow Playfair would. We're new,
but we know that if we post it ourselves as well, we'll get a lot more people to see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So because people, that's kind of what you do on LinkedIn. You kind of follow people. Probably more than brands, I would say.
The same principles that applied on every other platform apply on LinkedIn. Is people don't want to be sold to within LinkedIn. They would rather see, behind the scenes elements of the business or an interesting article that might help someone. You still got to entertain, help, educate. If you go straight in trying to sell to people, then everything you do on LinkedIn, people won't be engaged with it. And if they did follow you as a person or link in with you or your business, they'll just decide not to, because I'm sick of seeing this person's things. All they're trying to do is sell to me.
Yeah.
It's still, what I think one of the greatest things I've seen with LinkedIn is that during the pandemic, so many people lost their jobs. And there's this incredible community of people trying to help each other. There could be 50 people all without jobs, but even though they're all looking for a job, they've appreciated that they're much stronger together, this reach. And when one gets a job, the other 49 aren't doom and gloom. They're celebrating the person that got a job and they're sharing it. And so there is, again, it's community, it's engagement, it's about adding value. The same rules apply. Good thing with LinkedIn, though, is you could still have a post. Things can go viral, because if I did a post that you liked and you shared it and it was so good that everyone that follows you liked it, it can do that. That option is there.
And you do see that I will post something, and if that post gets a lot of likes, a lot of comments, suddenly you get a few more people connect with you because they're connected to the people that liked your post. That, like I say, that doesn't exist now on any other of the big social media platforms. So that's still a place to do it. But again, I still would say it's not a sales tool in terms of a cold hard sales tool.
No,
it's not going to explode your growth overnight. It's a value adder. It's part of your bigger plan to engage your customers, to onboard new customers, to instill trust, to instill relationships, to look like a responsible brand, maybe a thought leader.
Yes, thought leadership's quite big.
That kind of things, So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, people go on LinkedIn for that kind of information.
No, I think again it always will evolve, and that's the key. And what we'll try and do is we look for there will be new social media platforms. Meaning we'll talk about Clubhouse another time. Is it a social media platform? I don't quite know. I don't know what we won't even go into it. We haven't got time right now, but we will. But there will be new platforms where you can be an early adopter and you can win. So we always we review from our clients' perspective and our own, where is our time and money best put?
Yeah.
And as you can see, people are drifting away from the Facebook platform for lots of reasons, because there's new emerging ones that service them better. And that's, you need to make sure that you're engaged with the right platforms at the right time, with the right content, with the right budget. It's just, we could get boring in terms of the nuts and bolts. But
people are curating their feed more and more. Yeah. Following the things that they really want to follow, that they really find value. Because again, when your feed is scattered with ads every few posts, you want the things in between those ads to be of good quality, of good value to you.
Yeah, and I guess one of the is it a social media? Yeah, it is. YouTube is one I think we should touch on really briefly. I'm a massive user of YouTube. I think, but again, the people that entertain me, the people that I go and see. But in terms of the organic part, if you subscribe to a channel, you don't get notified of every new video that channel. If you don't add the bell icon and be asked to be notified, and you can ask, it can be for every video or some videos. People think, I subscribe to Peter McKinnon, an example. He's a photographer that I think he's a brilliant videographer that I follow. If I don't have the bell icon tapped, I don't see what he's posting. People think, but I like him, I follow this guy, I subscribe to him, why aren't I seeing the stuff? And that's why, even within that space, that's why you'll hear it on every YouTube video, like, subscribe, ring the bell, because organic doesn't work. They can't rely on just the fact that you watch their videos that you'll see more of them.
Yeah,
so
absolutely right.
And so again, that's something I'll touch on, is the nuts and bolts, things you physically can do to help your organic reach.
And I think we should probably do an episode on LinkedIn as well.
Yeah, as we were saying, we could have gone on and on and on.
Yeah.
Can be 35 minutes in. It's probably enough. But we'll do one specifically on LinkedIn, because the LinkedIn evolves. We've seen the stories, it's there. It's not used a great deal.
And there is the sales side of it as well. There's the whole sales inquiry form, and then the events and those kind of things as well.
White papers and articles and video content. And we'll do something on LinkedIn specifically, because that'll add tons of value, I think. Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you so much for listening to the Journal of a Marketing Agency.
Please rate, like and subscribe, and catch up with past and future episodes at playfairmarketing.com.